Welcome to Kids Stories, Chapter Books, and more. Today's chapter book is Knife and Fork, written by Gita V. Reddy, narrated by Susie Hackle. Copyright 2016, Gita V. Reddy. Chapter 1. Adventure. Bholu was a monkey, and he lived deep in the forest. One day, a bird stopped to rest beside him. She had come from a distant land. She told him many wonderful tales from the world outside the forest. Bholu was a changed monkey after that. He lost interest in his usual games. The other monkeys climbed up trees and jumped down from the upper branches. They swung from one branch to another, and also played other games all day long. Bholu did not join them. He saw no fun in playing the same games over and over again. He wanted a different life, a life filled with excitement and thrill. Bholu left the forest of his birth and set out to seek adventure. He came upon hamlets and villages, but did not stop for long. The bird had told him that the most wonderful sights were in cities. After traveling for 5 days, he entered a city. He was thrilled. Here was an adventure at last. It was exactly like the bird had described. There were tall buildings everywhere. People were getting into strange, shiny objects and coming out of them. Music came from somewhere, and it was better than what the birds made in the forest. There was so much to take in at one glance. Everything was new and interesting. He kept moving his head to the left and the right and turning around. He climbed a tree and peered through the hanging branches for a better view, but could only see a small portion of the wondrous sights. He noticed pipes going up a building beside the road. Taking a flying leap, he reached the pipes and clambered up the 3-floored building. The parapet wall on the terrace provided an excellent view of the street. Hugging its edge, Bholu crouched low and watched the scene below. It was a wonder he did not fall off. "Those are cars, and those are buses. That's a scooter, and the narrow thing with bars is a cycle. How smart human beings are. They look a lot like us, except they don't have our beautiful rich fur. But they are not like us in other ways," thought Bholu as he watched the vehicles and the people moving up and down the street. He stared at everything. His eyeballs were like marbles darting from side to side. He barely blinked his eyes. After some time, the smoke from the vehicles made his eyes smart, and the noise did not let him hear his own thoughts. Yet he continued to sit on the corner of the parapet wall and stare. By evening, he was hungry. He left his post and went looking for food. He found a few trees, but none of them had anything to offer him, not even tender leaves. For a moment he remembered the forest. There were always fruits and berries for the picking. Then he curled up in a tree and went to sleep. It had been a tiring, though exciting day. Chapter 2. Monkey in the City. Bholu woke up to the sound of laughter and noise. The noise was from the vehicles. Where was the laughter from? It was a pleasant sound, and it came from the other side of the wall beside the tree. He climbed to the branch above his and craned his neck as far as he could. He saw a garden with green grass and flowers. Why aren't there any fruit trees, he wondered. Do people eat grass like cattle? He heard more laughter and saw a little girl running around the garden. A man was running after her. He was trying to catch her. Bholu recognized the game. Monkeys played it too. A man came out of the house, and Bholu started watching him. He brought out a table and 3 chairs, spread a white cloth on the table, and arranged some things on it. Bholu didn't know what they were. It was much later he learned they were cups and saucers, spoons, knives, and forks. The man brought food and put it on the table. A woman came out of the house and sat on a chair. The man and the girl stopped playing. They also sat on chairs, and the 3 of them started eating. Bholu grew amazed as he watched them. They did not eat like monkeys. Instead of using their fingers to tear the food, they held sharp objects in their hands and cut the food with them. Then they used one sharp object to pick up the food and put it in their mouth. How surprising! The man and woman, whom Bholu guessed correctly to be the little girl's parents, finished eating and went indoors. The little girl kept looking about her and swinging her legs. She ate slowly. She also held a baby bear in her arm, only it wasn't a real baby bear, and pretended to feed it. If the little girl likes bears, she will love a monkey. Monkeys are smarter and better looking. I must go across and say hello. The girl will become my friend and give me those delicious mango slices, Bholu thought. Just then, a butterfly came into the garden and flew in front of the girl's face. The girl slipped out of her chair and followed it. The butterfly stopped to sip from a flower. The girl went down on her knees beside the flowering plant and watched the pretty butterfly. Bholu swung himself down the branches and dropped into the garden. He waited beside the table for the girl to come back. His eyes became glued to the mango slices on the plate. The mango slices looked ripe and juicy. Their sweet and tangy smell made him feel very hungry. He had to have them. The butterfly rose from the flower and flew away. The girl stood up and turned. She saw Bholu with a knife and fork delicately picking up a small piece of mango. She screamed loudly and continued to scream until her parents and the servant rushed out to see what the matter was. As soon as the girl screamed, Bholu had leaped to the safety of the wall, where he now sat with the knife and fork, finishing the mango slice. Everyone watched him. The girl, whose name was Lily, had stopped screaming. In fact, she was laughing and clapping. "Isn't he cute, Mama? Please give him something else," she said. Her mother peeled a banana and threw it near the wall. Bholu jumped down and took the banana to the top of the wall. He ate it piece by piece, using the knife and fork. "The monkey looks trained. He must have run away from the circus or a street performer," Lily's father said. "May we keep him?" Lily asked. "If you feed him regularly, I'm sure he'll be around. Remember, you are not to touch him or go close to him." Lily clapped her hands and placed the plate with mango slices beside the wall. Bholu did not need a second invitation. He came down in a jiffy and started cutting up the fruit into bite-sized pieces. Chapter 3. Knife and Fork. Every day after that, Lily or her mother put out fruit slices for Bholu. He ate them with the knife and fork he had used on the first day. He had made them his own and used them for every meal. When he did not need the knife and fork, he kept them in a hollow of the tree. He did not spend all his time in the garden. He had come to see the sights, and within a few days found the best way to tour the city. Every morning, soon after breakfast, he went to the bus station. Trees surrounded it. He positioned himself on any of the trees and jumped down on the first bus coming out. He looked out for interesting sights, and at the next tree took a flying leap off the bus. Bholu visited many grand buildings, markets, and tourist spots. One of them was an old fort. Bholu went because he saw many people going in, but he could not understand what they saw in it. Why did they stare at broken down walls, missing doors, and a crumbling ceiling? He would never understand people. For example, Lily loved nothing better than to watch him eat. But other people drove him away. There were places where the tables were set with plates, knives, forks, and spoons. They were called hotels. He had entered one and found himself a nice table, but it had caused an uproar. He was driven out between shouts and screams. After some thought, he decided that the hotel people had chased him because they believed he could not use the knife and fork. He went back, climbed up on the gate post, and explained to them that he could use cutlery very well. He may be a monkey. In fact, he was a monkey, but he had learned to eat like a human being. It did not help. They still yelled at him and chased him away with a broom. The problem was that they did not understand him. Dogs, cats, horses, and monkeys learned human speech, but human beings did not understand other tongues. It was not their fault. They were not language smart. The markets had vegetables and fruits of different colors. Bholu had never seen most of them before. He felt like snatching up bunches of fresh-smelling leaves and eating them. But he couldn't eat with his bare hands. Finally, he decided it was better to stay away. Bholu learned to stay out of sight. People rarely saw him on top of the bus. But when they did, he made his escape before a crowd gathered. He slipped in and out of buildings and parks and observed new and wonderful sights. He even entered a cinema house, after which he got himself a pair of dark glasses. He could not use them because they kept slipping down his face. And finally, he lost them. Lily had grown used to Bholu. She asked her father for a table for him. She even wanted Bholu to have a bib like hers. So Bholu had a small table of his own, and when the gardener brought a frilly bib, he let him tie it around his neck. He continued to learn and perfect his city ways. Lily sometimes used her fingers to cram food into her mouth, but never Bholu. Chapter 4. A Quarrel. One night, Bholu woke to heavy rain. The monsoon had arrived. After the hot summer, the next 4 months would have plenty of rain. Thunder roared and lightning streaked. Sheets of rain poured from the sky. After it stopped raining, Bholu shook the branches and let the thick water drops fall on his face and into his mouth. It was the first rain of the season, and Bholu wanted to enjoy it to his heart's content. It rained every day after that. The roads became slushy, and the smell of the vehicle smoke grew strong. When it rained in the forest, the warm scent of the earth mingled with the fresh air. Streams filled and gushed over rocks. Wild grass shot up overnight, and birds sang. Bholu missed the forest more and more. Though he did not admit it, he had enough of the city. All the buildings seemed alike. The vehicles made too much noise and gave out a lot of smoke. He also missed the constant games that went on in the forest. What fun it was! The swinging from branch to branch, the vaulting over streams and rivulets, the teasing and the friendship. He went back to the forest. The monkeys were excited to see him. "Where have you been?" they asked. "Why did you disappear? We thought you were never coming back." Bholu was happy to share his adventures with them. He found the biggest rock and gathered the monkeys around him. He told them about the strange, wonderful world of human beings. He described the trains, the airplanes, and the moving, talking images called cinema. The monkeys listened to him, open-mouthed, and did something very unusual for them. They sat still. But not for long. The younger monkeys started prancing about and chattering. "We will also go to the city and have fun. We'll do wonderful things. We'll learn all there is to learn." Bholu shook his head in the manner of the wise old monkey, Subodhi, and said, "Foolish monkeys, come out of your dream world. It's a tough world out there. You won't find Reddy to pluck fruits in the city. You won't have trees as big and shady either. If you are not quick, there are people who will treat you like a stray animal and throw stones at you. Cities are hard, and living in them is dangerous." "You manage, so shall we," piped in a small monkey. "I could stay because I learned human ways and lived among them as their equal. They fed me and looked after me. Don't imagine you can live in the city because I did. People in the city said I'm a great and intelligent monkey. That is why they looked after me. You will either get stoned or end up in a zoo." "What is a zoo?" the monkeys asked. "It's a place where human beings lock up foolish animals and never let them go home." An eager-to-please monkey said, "We are lucky to have you among us. You are great and did wonderful things in the city. Will you please teach us how human beings live and how monkeys should live with them? All of us want to go to the city." Bholu grew annoyed. Instead of praising him for being the first monkey to go out into the world and explore it, the other monkeys were trying to repeat his feat, as if they could. He scowled at them and shook his fist. "What makes you think you can learn? Such things cannot be taught. I learned them on my own because of my superior mind. None of you have a fraction of my intelligence. Learn indeed. Now listen to what I have to say and don't interrupt." Soon the monkeys grew tired of his boasting and his rudeness. They left him alone and went back to their fun and games. "I don't need them. They are a common lot. I am a superior monkey, and I am better off without them," said Bholu to himself. Chapter 5. Friendless and Alone. In spite of the quarrel, Bholu was happy to be back in the forest. The monsoon months were his favorite time of the year. He roamed the forest, taking long leaps and jumps. He climbed up trees and raced against the stream. He also used his knife and fork to eat the fruit that grew in plenty. The other monkeys watched from afar, curious about what he was doing. Bholu also could not ignore them for long. They seemed to have too much fun. He decided to give them another chance. After all, they were foolish monkeys. They did not know any better. Being a well-traveled monkey, it was his duty to talk sense into them. A monkey was sitting by himself and eating a ripe papaya. Bholu went to him. "That's so gross," he said. "What is?" asked the monkey, looking around. "Look at you. You have fruit on your hands and your face. That's not how a well-bred monkey eats. I'll show you how you must eat." Bholu took the papaya and cut it open with his knife. The monkey's eyes grew round. Bholu said, "Watch," and took a dainty mouthful. "Do you see? Are you observing?" he asked every now and then, pausing between mouthfuls. The monkey brought another fruit. "Bholu, give me your knife and what you call it. I'll try now." I can't give them to you, snapped Bholu. You will spoil them. I'll eat your fruit, and you watch and learn. The monkey backed away. I don't have a knife and fork, and you won't lend me yours. What is the use of your teaching me? You cheated me out of my papaya. I will not fall for the same trick again. Why will I trick you? Bholu asked, getting angry. Why did you eat my fruit? The monkey asked. How else could I teach you? Bholu cheated me. Bholu is a cheat. Bholu is a cheat, said the monkey again and again, rushing to gather the other monkeys. When Bholu saw the other monkeys staring at him, he screeched, Is it not enough that I am prepared to teach you? I am wasting my hard-earned knowledge on a good-for-nothing monkey, a nut-brained baboon. He stopped mid-sentence because the other monkeys rushed at him. Grabbing his knife and fork, he barely managed to escape their fury. After that day, Bholu spent all his time alone. Sometimes he went into the dark parts of the forest for days. When the silence scared him, or he missed the sound of monkey chatter, he came back. He didn't join them in their games. Instead, he hid and watched them playing. If they caught sight of him, they chased him away, chanting, Chalu, Bholu! Chalu, Bholu! Bholu was hurt that the others were calling him Chalu. It wasn't a nice word. It meant that he was a cunning monkey. It wasn't true. He was a monkey of great intelligence and much superior to the other monkeys. Bholu was not a bad monkey. Before going to the city, he had never quarreled with his friends. But the trip to the city had turned his head. It had made him arrogant. Instead of accepting his mistake, he blamed the others. When he got tired of being alone, he thought, So what if these monkeys can't understand what I have done? There are many other animals in the forest. They will appreciate my city ways. If I impress them, they may even make me their leader. Which animals will make good friends? Crawling creatures like snakes and lizards won't do as friends, because they are too slow and also spend a lot of time in hiding. Birds are too flighty. Crocodiles and tortoises are hard, and the antelope is shy. The lion is too loud, and the cheetah is sudden. I shall look for friendship among the elephants, the bears, the foxes, the wolves, and the chimpanzees. Bholu first went to the wolves. You lucky wolves, he told them. I've come to be your friend and teach you all about the wide world. That's okay, said the wolves. First, join us in our choir. The pack of wolves looked up at the moon and started to sing. The chorus was so scary that Bholu ran away. He went to the fox. Be my friend. I'll teach you wonderful city ways. The fox gave him a broad smile. So kind of you, so very kind of you. Then she snatched Bholu's knife and tried to stab him. Bholu had to struggle to get it back. He went to the bear and the elephant. They both said the same thing. You like human ways? We'll teach you human ways. We'll bind you and starve you and teach you tricks. That's what human beings do to us. Bholu was sad. Would he never find a friend who would appreciate him and his adventures? His last attempt to find a friend was among the chimpanzees. He found them fighting among themselves. They were snarling and gnashing their teeth. An unfriendly lot, he decided, and ran away from them. Chapter 6. Friends are the best. Bholu found that being always alone and not having anybody was very different from going off alone to wander by himself. Sometimes he thought he should go back to the city. Lily would be happy to see him, but Lily was not his friend. She did not play games with him. He was like the bear she played with. He was a toy. The frilly bib was torn and dirty, and he could not untie it. When he was in the city, he did not have to gather food or peel it. Eating the slices with a knife and fork was easy. Now he needed both hands to get his food. At meal times, he first hid his knife and fork in a safe place, gathered fruit, hid it, came back for his knife and fork, and only then ate. He did not eat nuts and berries because they were difficult to manage with a fork. But he could not do otherwise. He had told everyone that being a well-traveled monkey, he would only eat with a knife and fork. If he stopped now, everyone would make fun of him. He could not bear to be laughed at. The other monkeys continued to keep away from him. He did not know what to do. As time passed, Bholu realized some important truths. Monkey ways are right for monkeys just as human ways are right for human beings. Food and fun are meant to be shared with friends. Losing friends is easy. Winning them back is not. Subudhi was the oldest monkey in the forest. He was very wise. When the quarrel had broken out, everyone expected him to scold Bholu, but he had kept quiet because he wanted to give Bholu some time to think about his actions. When he saw a change in him, he called for a secret meeting and made a plan. The next morning, as usual, Bholu started gathering fruit and keeping it in a safe place. Every time he hit a fruit, one of the monkeys took it away. This continued throughout the morning. Bholu screamed in anger, but they did not leave him alone. They continued to tease him, and finally he stopped plucking any more fruit. The monkeys gathered around him. One of them said, "Hey, Bholu, thanks for getting our breakfast. You chose the best fruit." "Don't be mean. Bholu must be tired and hungry," said another monkey. "Are you hungry, Bholu? We've gathered your favorite food. Look." Bholu covered his face with his hands. He thought they were teasing him, but when Subudhi told him to open his eyes, he did and found a spread of coconuts, ground nuts, and small berries laid out in front of him. They were indeed his favorite foods. He had not eaten any of them since coming from the city. His stomach growled with hunger. "Eat," said Subudhi, breaking open the coconut and removing the knife and fork from his hand. Bholu ate the coconut. He ate the berries, and he ate a jackfruit. He also ate a mango, but he did not use his knife and fork. When he had eaten all he could, Subudhi said, "My dear Bholu, it is good that you have traveled far because travel makes a monkey wise. A wise monkey is also a practical one. Don't you think so?" Bholu looked ashamed. He said, "I've been foolish. In fact, human beings say, 'In Rome, do as the Romans do.'" "What else do human beings say?" asked Subudhi, and Bholu happily started narrating his adventures. The end. You have been listening to Knife and Fork by Gita V. Reddy. The short chapter book series introduces children to different genres. It attempts to inculcate the love of reading in all children by encouraging reluctant readers to start reading. The books also help early readers and beginner readers to become advanced readers.